is John Nielsen, and I am your host for tonight. Welcome to the ICW Singapore 2020. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's wonderful to see this number of participants, well above 100 this time of the day. And I'm really excited about this evening's speaker, which is Cosmin Galu, who will be interviewed by Anne Pei, talking about courage and values in face of adversity. Before we go into the presentation, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping here to make this a great experience for everyone. So first of all, if everybody can stay muted with your microphone, that would help a lot. Also, please post any question into the chat function. You find the chat function when you go to the lower bar and click chat, and here you can type in your question. We will do our very best to pick up on as many questions as possible throughout the session. Also, this event is qualifying for CCEUs. There is some very important instructions to follow as we go through this. So first of all, you have to attend the full live webinar. We will not insurance any partial CCEUs. There will be very clear instruction at the end how you can get your certificate. There will be a QR code, a link, and a few questions you fill out. You have 24 hours after each webinar to fill out the information, and your certificates will be sent to you electronically by June 2020. So before we start, I really want to take the time to thank our sponsors for this very important event. We have our platinum sponsor, Emergenetics. Emergenetics help people and organizations to improve communication, collaboration, and culture, resulting in positive and productive workplaces. The really exciting part about this is that every participant of the ICW 2020 Singapore will get a gift worth of Singapore dollar 350. You will get your own Emergenetics profile report. You will get access to their portal with a lot of information and resources. And also you will get a special invitation for a webinar designed for coaches. You will receive an email next week. So please watch out for that email so you can get access to this wonderful gift sponsored by Emergenetics. Also, I want to take the time to thank you for our silver sponsors, the Coach Partnership. The Coach Partnership has brought the Newfield suite of coaching training programs to Asia since 2010. Newfield has been the world's leading ontological methodology since 1991, with more than 65,000 graduates worldwide, and is also recognized as the golden standard within the ICF network of coach certification programs. Then we have Starting Point, authorized provider of everything DISC certification and solution, 5 behaviors of a cohesive team and building trust solution. They specialize in customized workshops and coaching for leadership and organizational improvement and transformation. Last but not least, we have the coaching app. If you have ever looked for a suite in your pocket, you should go to www.thecoachingapp.com and download. You will have a lot of guidance and tools in your pocket around coaching. So thank you to all our sponsors. I would now like to start to introduce our speakers for tonight. So I am very, very excited to have Cosmin Galu from Romania with us. Cosmin is both a graduate in law and strategic leadership and communication from the National Democratic Institute in Washington, US. He is a certified coach of the Coaches Training Institute, which was the first coaching school recognized by ICF, who has far more than 35,000 specialists accredited in more than 140 countries around the world. Cosmin has over 18 years of HR and training experience in both multinational and local Romanian companies. As a facilitator and coach, He has more than 7,000 hours of training and 720 hours of coaching delivered and work in long-term partnership with his clients. Cosmin has supported many team leaders training programs across Romania, Germany, Bulgaria, Serbia, and Republic of Moldova. And in his own work, when he described himself, I am helping clients to discover their unique values, identify self-defeating influences, and create their own vision for a compelling future. Very exciting. And I like what he wrote to us. He is a freedom lover and a purpose-driven person, and I'm sure you're going to get a feel of this. Cosmin will be joined by Anne Pay. Anne Pay is a result-driven multi-language coach, a CMO, entrepreneur, and corporate business leader with more than 25 years of experience in turning around business. She has won multiple awards and very experienced across the time zone. And also is an internal IBM coach for mindfulness in Singapore. And last but not least, she is a singer and songwriter and has already released 2 albums. I want to take this opportunity to hand over the stage to Cosmin and Anne. And Anne will have a conversation and interview with Cosmin. Anne, the stage is yours.
Oh, lovely. Thank you, John, for introducing us. And of course, I'll be very, very happy to welcome Cosmin to the Singapore ICW. So Cosmin, just a little bit, when I first met Cosmin, I was really very excited because having grown up in a very sheltered country like Singapore and having not gone through, political changes within my generation, and to hear his story about how he was a civil rights activist turned lawyer and then turned coach. It's amazing how much that journey that he has taken that takes out a lot of courage for him to lead his life. And I think today will be a very exciting time for him to share his life story and his transformation and what are some of the beautiful values that we can take with us into our own lives. So this session will be really totally interactive. So while I pop over the session to Cosmin, maybe I'll get Lynn to put up the Mentimeter. We'd like to see where everybody is from, and I know that there are some friends who have joined us from all over the world. In fact, to all the Eastern Europeans, my name is also called Anishka. So over to you, Cosmin.
Hello, Anne. Hello, everyone. So happy to be here with you. It's an amazing privilege. Never thought 2 months ago that I'm going to deliver a session for so many coaches standing in my living room. So I'm very happy to be here. Hopefully, I will share more as a witness of my country's transformation and stories that I know before 89 and after 89 and so on, and see how these experiences can be a lesson for us. How can they be helpful during these challenging times that we are going through now? So, Anne, when you asked me which country I'm from, so my first answer was hey, Anne, I'm from the country of freedom lovers, so which has no borders. I'm definitely sure, as we can already see on the screen, we have a lot of people from different countries. So I hope I see someone also from Romania. Okay. So, Anne, passing back to you.
Oh, this is so exciting. So, as we were talking to Cosmin, I wanted to ask him, so how was it like growing up in Romania and Eastern Europe? Like, what was it about the love for freedom and growing up in a place that probably had a lot of restrictions, a bit similar to what we're experiencing now with the COVID? How was it like? Maybe you could share that with us.
Yeah, I would love if we can go back to the screen with the countries, because I have a feeling that we are a lot of from a lot of countries, and it's so good to see this. So regarding Romania's experience, or my experience before 89, of course I was very young. I can share it now from the shoes of a very young child that definitely I was not aware about what is happening in my surroundings at that time. And also I can share with the eyes that I view these things now as an adult and understand what really happened before 89 and why it's important for us as a thing to keep in mind in these challenging times that all of us go through now. So if I'm thinking about me as a child, obviously I did not notice what was going around. I can very shortly share you a very short story about exotic fruit, which was a rarity at that time. So, for example, we had bananas and oranges once in a year. It was around Christmas, and for me it was New Year's Eve, Christmas, and Easter in the same day. So yes, it was exciting from this point of view to know, to get the exotic fruits and so on, and waiting for this day. Now, when I'm looking as an adult to this experience, well, I would say it was challenging for parents. It was challenging for everyone in those times. External conditions were much more challenging. To get basic food or basic needs, it was a daily concern. And yet, people kept free during this time. I'm experienced with my father now. 5 weeks ago, when we started to enter in lockdown in Romania, I told him, hey, I preached him the lesson, hey, you have to stay inside, it's very dangerous, you are vulnerable from age point of view and so on. And he told me, hey, son, look here, I've been in more difficult times before 89, and still I kept my heart free and my soul free, and I will do it also now. So yeah, there are a lot of lessons, and hopefully during this session I will have the opportunity to be a storyteller for you about what I've experienced. It's maybe less important, and it's more important what people generally experience during the times, and what is the important lesson that we can all get rich now about listening to them.
That's really awesome. I mean, to think that you only get bananas once a year, and here we are in the circuit breaker in Singapore, and a lot of us are complaining we can't get the food that we want. The cake shops have been closed. I think we're a lot luckier now than you were in Romania. So share with us, what was that value that you had that was really holding you through all that tough time? What kept you going, Cosmin?
As I told you, it's what I saw to my parents and generally to common people during the times. Even if the external conditions were very tough, from lacking of basic needs and so on, what I remember from that period and what I know from a lot of people living that in the times, that still in the families, people kept their values, and they were very close to each other, which is a little bit different from what was happening after 89, because we entered in a sort of a speed economical growth, and we forgot somehow what was important, and we did not have this freedom that we have now. So what I know from different stories of common people which do not hold the name of a street maybe today, or do not hold a statue, that keeping their faith and focus on a better future was always present. Hope was always present. So somehow people knew that things are going to be changed one day. So as I can remember now, hope was very important, and keeping close to each other. So when outside is difficult, when external conditions are tough, keeping close to each other, I think it was a very important value that we had during that times. Families were more united, I would say, in that period.
Wow, that's amazing. Actually, Cosmin and I were thinking that we would also throw this out to everyone, and kind of like ask everyone, what is the key value that you hold very dear to yourself, that you hold strongly to? Because value is what drives us. And as you put in your answer, we'll just continue to have Cosmin share. So Cosmin, so you say when the external environment is tough, and then your family becomes closer because you're facing the external environment together. How is that different from where we are in COVID? Because now we are also kind of like in closed communities because the interaction is also changed.
Yeah. So what I see as somehow similar is that there are external conditions that we cannot control. So we have to stay in house and so on. And the question is, what do we honor when we choose to stay at home in these times? What I see different, looking back at before '89, what I know from stories and what I saw in my family, it was the conditions were much more tougher. We did not have Zoom or Skype or even the possibility to travel outside of the country. As I remember, the state decided for you where you will have to live, in which city after you ended the university and so on. So the conditions regarding freedom and human basic rights are very different from what we're living right now. And still, I would underline still, humans and when people hold themselves in their own bubble free, even if whispering about what was happening outside, they kept their faith during the time. So yes, definitely the conditions were much more difficult. It was not possible from a guy from Romania to get in touch with so many people and to read about so many values that we see now. Yes, integrity, and I would say it's a beautiful community of values. And if we think better, all these values are somehow connected and serve a certain purpose in our lives. Keep the faith and keep the focus for a better future.
I'm seeing some words that people are typing in, like love, empathy, faith, but very huge, integrity and love. These are the pretty big ones. So, Cosmin, like with that restriction and you call yourself a freedom lover, it must have been like directly conflicting, right? That restriction that's on you and yet loving that freedom. What made you want to create a change and really become a political and civil rights activist? Because that's probably not the norm. I mean, most people would just stay home and try to be safe. What made you want to make that huge change in your life?
Right. I did not do it consciously. It just simply happened after '89. It was an explosion of freedom. So after the fall of Berlin, and I hope audio, so I see audio is not clear, so I will try to do something about it. Just a second.
While Cosmin is doing that, can I remind everybody, if possible, and you can log into mentimedia.com and add your answers, because then we have more answers in the chart that you see on the screen. So if you have opportunity, please log in and enter the code, and you will get the questions automatically. That would be amazing. Thank you.
Great, thank you, John. I hope we have a better audio now. So just
much better. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, right? Okay, so what happened after '89 with me being a very, very young student? Suddenly, I see people around me from whispering to shouting out loud about what they believe in, what are their values, how do they want their country and their lives to be. So I simply enjoyed this freedom and connected to the history of my family, which I found out after '89, and thought to myself, well, it's time to move mountains. So, and as a very young person, this is what we all believe when we are very young. So we will move mountains. So I simply wanted to enjoy this and to bring a contribution. Still, the country was not totally, it was undergoing through a process before entering the European Union, and still the risk of, as a great Romanian writer said once, freedom and democracy, it's in danger every day. So I wanted to simply give a contribution to this, and I joined a civic movement at that time, which was fighting from countries' participation to European Union and generally to the community of values of democracy and freedom. So this is how I decided, almost unconsciously, and I would say coming from a natural feeling that we humans have. I think this value of freedom, it's a natural thing within us. It's not something that lawmakers invented. It simply comes from our core values or core being as humans. So this is how it happened, and of course, during time, I learned my lessons about moving mountains is not so easy as it looks like, and I started to discover. Coaching meanwhile and practice my profession, and during my profession it was also challenging to keep this value of freedom present.
Wow, that's awesome. And then
there is a beautiful question here. May I take it from Olga?
yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so what one positive experience did you take away from political activism? Well, that's great. So coming from a period where you don't learn about human rights or civic activism in school, it was amazing to reconnect to people who had to suffer during the regime, whose voices were not heard in that time. So I remember I was impressed about the common people stories that you could discover during that times, and the sense of connecting with people that have the same values as you have was probably the best benefit I can get from being active in that world. So I think the lesson of values or acting driven by values was very important at that time for me. So this kept also moving. So Olga, I hope this brought an answer for you. There are a lot of common stories, and I will share one later on. Yeah, okay. Thank you. I will share also one beautiful story later on. So I'm passing the mic to you.
Oh, beautiful. Thanks so much for sharing and picking up the question from the guys. In fact, I was just thinking like the way that you had kind of like made those really tough decisions to stand up, not just for yourself, your family, and also your community. What do you think we could use some of our own values that everyone has shared here to make the changes in our own environment and situation? Do you have any advice for us?
Well, I would share something. I don't know if it's necessarily an advice, and I will connect to present times. And 5 weeks ago, when everything fell down, like I'm working together with a team, and we deliver coaching and training, and all the business went down. So it was quite tough, So what we do now? What is the thing we do now? And I think we had the dialogue in our team, and we said, okay, we never lived this before, and how are we going to go through this? So where I felt we connected, and it was very important in my team, it was the question, what do we want to honor during these times? How do we want to be of service for us and for others during these times? So I would say connect to what is true for you, or what we want to honor, or give a clarity to your purpose. What do you want to tell about yourself after we pass through these difficult times? Yeah, I have also a question here from someone which I like it a lot, and I would love to answer it if it's possible, Anne.
Sure, of course, please.
What values have changed for you, if any, over your experience, and why? That's a very, very good question. So I would come back to the freedom and to moving mountains. So I would not necessarily say it changed, but I understood better how to better put it into action. So from being a very young person eager to change the mountains and change the country, but somehow politics teaches this is not possible to happen overnight. I understood that I can use this desire, this passion, this thing that I believe in a different way, and try to work better on one-to-one versus trying to change all the country. And I said, during years, okay, you can do it step by step and in a different pace. So what I notice about myself and what I'm doing now, I'm honoring it, yet with a different rhythm and with a different pace. I don't know if this comes with time or with experience. I think you don't never lose your core value, that one unique value. You just can see it from different perspective with different rhythms, with different places, and every time every experience it's informing you about your rhythm and your pace during these times. So yeah, what we are doing now, it's exactly this: is being attentive of our rhythm and pace and how we manifest these values that are very important for us as human beings.
In fact,
What
another
helped?
question that just came in is very perfect timing from Doreen. Like, so what helped you to keep your strong sense of value through all these times?
Well, Doreen, I will be very honest. I was not all the time strong. I was weak and vulnerable so many times, and I made a lot of mistakes. And I would say I cried a lot in difficult times. Even if I'm a 191 tall and 110 kilos guy, it's tough for everyone. So what was important for me and what generally makes me, move. So get out from when you are stuck, when you get moved, it's thinking about there is always a future. 1 year from now, who do I want to be? Second, what is my most important lesson in life? And third, and when I'm totally hopeless, I call my best friend, or I call my father, who was a great mentor for me. And I'm asking for help. So if I'm thinking what helped me during this time is admitting that I don't know everything, and it's important to ask for help. And also it's important to connect to your true core. Who do you want to be? What do you want to honor in these times? Okay. So we have some questions
coming in. So do you consider freedom of speech a value to consider?
Definitely. I would say freedom of choice, freedom of speech, any kind of freedom. They are very important, especially in these times when we somehow might have the feeling that it's happening now in Romania, that we lose of something of our rights. What I'm telling to my friends a lot of times, values cannot go once against each other. So now we are staying at home because the value of life has to be taken care of. And the question is, how do we want to put our core beliefs in this service of life in this time? As I told you, it's a lockdown, yet guys, it's not a tough lockdown. Look at us, we are 100 people here sharing ideas, asking questions, connecting, talking. So where do we want to keep our focus during these times? So what is happening in Romania, just to briefly answer also this beautiful question, we debate a lot on social media. You see different point of view, different ideas. Even I would say we have military laws ongoing. It doesn't feel like necessarily military laws. There are also things to pay also attention to the government, which has this natural tendency, I would say, to be more controlling. And yes, we can express about this and we can talk about this. And I'm going back to the organization and to our mission as coaching. Why is this important? And why is it important to keep in mind about these values and freedoms and what is going on now? Everyone is going through a change now. Organization, countries, people, we ourselves. So, and the question is, how do we want to serve? Family, organization, country. What is our role during these times? So I thought often about this, what might be my role. Starting from very simple things, buying food from older people or offering free sessions, free coaching sessions. We can find a lot of things to do during these times.
That's really beautiful because you talk about your values and then, with all the circumstances that's changing and you've tried your way and your focus has also shifted. So I guess we'll also open up to the floor for everyone to use Q&A through the chat of what are some of the focus that you are looking into for yourself personally as a coach, having the experience of your own unique lifestyle and lifetime. So share about some of your own focus areas, and then I'll get back to Cosmin at the same time. So Cosmin, so about the focus area, what helps you to decide the shifts in the focus, and where do you want to aim for, given that you've tried moving mountains and it wasn't quite possible? How did the focus then decision get made?
Yes, that's a very important perspective right now. So one thing, it's awareness. Where are you keeping the focus right now? So awareness about yourself as a coach. Where is your focus right now as a coach? Why value is important? What purpose? How defining a purpose is very important, especially in these times. And one second thing that I would like also to share with you, it's this idea that I somehow discovered through an exercise. It's about, and it's important for us as coaches to keep in mind this idea. What is the natural focus that people usually have? And may I share you my screen for a short exercise? So yeah, may I do this, Anne?
Yes, please,
I don't hear
Cosmin.
it.
Yes.
So what I very recently discovering by playing in a training, facilitating a module. So I popped this question, sorry about it. Just to okay. Just a second. I posed this question for you and for all of you.
Let's do it together. Maybe
yeah,
for those guys, everyone just type your response into the chat.
So try to type your response into the chat and look at this beautiful, simple exercise and quickly tell me what is your focus right now when you see this exercise.
My first reaction is there's an error in the formula, like 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4, but 3 + 3 should be 6, right. But it's 8. So what's everyone's view?
Excellent. You just proved one very important thing. Our natural tendency is on risk and on negative and what is not going on. So when we go through change and when we go through different times, it's a natural human tendency to see the risk, to see the danger, to see what is not going wrong, so what is not going well, and so on. So learning from here as a coach, I said, okay, yes, it's normal that we keep this focus on negative because we are somehow back to the basic needs from the Maslow pyramid, safety. We all are worried about our health. So what I'm learned as a coach and facilitating also for teams, it's allow space to meet people where they are. It's normal that we feel all these emotions of fear and of negativity, of things that are not going well. It's normal. It is what it is. So what is important for us as coaches is to stay with to be in service for our coaches, meet them where they are, allow space, listen, talk, discover. It's such an amazing mission that we have as coaches to understand how human function, how people function, what are our desires. So what I'm usually doing when I notice about myself, I have this focus on negative, on the risks, things are not going. As I told you, I move back to what purpose I have, or what do I want, what's the story I want to tell about myself 1 year from now, 2 years from now. So I'm shifting towards values, or I remember these beautiful stories that I heard during my activity as a civic and political activist. And I remember, hey, these are not tough times. People want much more tougher times than now.
Very interesting. So it's really about shifting our perspective, I think, and also being aware of our own natural tendency. Because for me, it's like the Mets thing just kicked in, and I don't know how everyone else responded to that really interesting exercise that Cosmin put up. But maybe we could also ask everyone: do you find that in your life that you may have changed your perspectives before? Perhaps you could share with us through Lynn's mentee survey. Mm. And while you're sharing
I
about
will,
your new
yeah,
perspective,
meanwhile, we have an interesting question here. How do we maintain harmony within society when crisis situations could amplify differences in values held? Very interesting, very interesting. I would say, and I just had a phone call yesterday with one of my friend and also partner in business in the same time. And he told me, look, Cosmin, I'm so very upset when I'm seeing on social media different point of views and different ideas expressed. And I choose to shut up. I choose not to get involved. And I told him, no, don't shut up. Get involved, talk about it, express your opinion, because the freedom of speech, the freedom of shouting out loud what you believe, it's so very important. We didn't have it before 89. So it's great we have it. We have it now, we can talk. So I would say participate to the life of the community. Common good is not the responsibility only of the state. Common good is a responsibility that each one of us has. And I would say in our mission as coaches, we have this great contribution to the common good in helping people and providing for them space to discover themselves. It's a great contribution that we can give to our communities, countries, and the world in general.
wonderful, Cosmin. I see a couple of questions coming in from Siu Jun Pang about how Romania is bordered by 6 countries and what unites the people and the generation today. And there's also another question about the future generation. How do you instill hope in the kids and the young ones? So would you like to share a little bit about how do you build
Yes,
that
of
hope
course.
with the generations?
I will start with the last one. I would say young generations, they are teaching us now. So the children in my family, they are teaching me how to use TikTok, how to use social media. So we have this, it's amazing. I don't know if sometime in history this happened, that you can learn a lot from young generation. So my total hope is in this generation. This it's an amazing. I'm telling them in Romania, you are a digital generation. You have this. You know how to work on a laptop or an iPad, on an iPhone before you learn how to write. So yes, it's time for this generation to offer them space to be at service. They are amazing. They're amazingly creative, amazingly present. So I would, and as a coach, I totally love to work with their energy. Moving on to the second part of the question, how is our nation keeping united in this time? I would say in hope, once again in hope. Even if we have different opinions about the present or about what government is doing or not doing, everyone is keeping the hope present. We all hope that we are going to go, and I'm sure we are going to navigate through these times as good as we can. But what a situation we had in my hometown that really inspired me, it's when we noticed that the hospital in my hometown has difficulties, all the community got united. Even if we were at home, we managed to call someone and to help or to donate or to help procure basic materials for the hospital. So in tough times, communities become very united. This is also what I would say, what is common for us now, focus on the future and focus on what is possible to do right here, right now, today from the situation that we are now.
Lovely. And Serene Mahafi also has a question. How do we maintain the harmony within society, especially when crisis situations could amplify the differences, especially with the values or sides are being taken?
Well, I would share my idea from two perspectives. One, as a coach, this is our daily job, how we help, or our daily mission. I wouldn't call it a job at all. I would say it's a mission. So how we help our coaches to find harmony with their values, with their daily life, daily challenges, how we help them discover themselves better. This would be one perspective. And another perspective that I would say, harmony is not looking at the society in general, harmony is not a state present all the time. Turbulence is also present. And I would say, now, where do we want to keep the focus when turbulence is present? On the 3 plus 3 equals 8, or on the possibility, on other possibilities to see the same difficult time? So I would say acknowledging turbulence is present. Yes, it's present. It's something that we cannot avoid. Maybe what is different, that change itself changed. It's coming very quickly. You cannot anticipate anymore. So I would say, yeah, honoring our mission as coaches and being present for our clients and being very aware that turbulence and change is happening so often nowadays.
So Farah was asking, she's curious, like with all the thought process and decisions that you made, did you have a mentor or someone that you that had coached you? I think probably at that time we didn't have coaches yet, but did someone inspire you and give you ideas or help you to get onto your path?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So what I'm really realizing now, that my best coach without any proper certification was always my father. Before 89, after 89, and anyways, I'm okay, I have this connection with him. What I recently discovered in these times is that I started to call people that I did not speak with for many, many years. So everyone had to share such great insights about how relations change during these times, about how we talk to each other, about what is important in these times. And of course, also I have within my team a permanent coach, I would say, that always we coach ourselves a lot. And we use this time also for learning from these perspectives. And what I can say, I don't know, I'm not sure if I love more to be a coach or to being coached. So I'm still debating in myself this. So yeah, I'm always looking in my team about this possibility, who can be my coach now on this topic or on this issue. What it comes into my mind with before 89, after 89, and even now when my father told me, look, I know more about lockdown than you do, and I still keep myself free, and still freedom, it's important no matter where I'm sitting. Yeah, I would say this was one of the beautiful, impactful things that I heard during this time.
Has the values changed over time, or is that kind of like an enduring value that kept throughout, but then your focus just changed?
I think we all of us live in a community of values. Sometimes freedom is important. What I feel now, it's important, the life. It's a fundamental value, having the right to live. So and these values do not go once against each other. They support each other. So for now, keep in mind that we need to stay home because we are in service of protecting life. Okay, so they are not changing values. I would say we tune to the values with different voice or different volume, and we keeping. What I would say, it's important where to keep the focus. So for the fact that I'm staying at home, would I say I lose my value, or would I say I'm protecting life? Where is my focus? It's on positive, or it's on the negative part of it?
So it also comes back down to the perspective, right? Because it still comes back to perspectives that changes, and then when you open up those perspectives, then that would help you to have the clarity on the situation and also where you like to be. Yeah. Beautiful. That's really beautiful. I think we'll open up to the audience again and ask them who has been a strong influence for you in your life, and who do you go to for help in the crisis? Mm.
Yeah, as I told you, what I discovered recently is to talk with friends or people that I did not hear from a long time ago. That can give you different perspectives about life, staying connected in our network, in our international network at Leadership Land and at Leadership Coefficient. It's also very important. Hearing what is happening in different cultures and different ideas, this is also a thing that I'm keeping in mind. And I think taking time to look at myself and to understand myself better, because before COVID-19, I'm totally passionate about my job, and I'm always in, between planes and running and projects and facilitation and training and so on. I don't have the time to stop a little bit and say, okay, what is important for me right now? Who is the person I did not call in the last 5 years or 4 years or 3 years? And I called a childhood friend, to whom I spoke 8 or 9 years ago for the last time. And it was so amazing to reconnect with them. So I would encourage you all, hey, give a call to someone. Who do you go to right now? Who is the person that you didn't call for a long time? Yeah, and we have some great.
So, Cosmin, there's another question from Doreen Teo. How do you manage the conflict in values, like you said, freedom versus the protection of lives?
Okay. Yeah, very, very, very important question. So I would say, what is the focus today? So when we speak about freedom, we speak about safety. What is important today? And where do we want to keep our focus today? And what is the focus for the future? So I'm understanding now that, okay, staying in home, it's protecting the value of life, of safety. Yet I'm keeping the focus on the future. We do this in order to go to a better future. So I think keeping the balance between today and tomorrow and remembering lessons of the past is also very, very important. And I just remember a very, very beautiful lesson about the future. A very young student before 89 was arrested because of helping, and we will share more about this story very, very soon. She was arrested because she helped people that were imprisoned, and the judge asked her, why did you do this? Because I believe in freedom, I believe in justice, and it's not right what you do. And the judge said, okay, you'll get 5 more years in prison only because saying that. And the answer was, well, if there is a God, and I believe he's a God, I know I will catch a better future. So even if someone, what I remember, even if someone was in prison for something that was not right done to her at that time, kept the hope for the future in much more difficult times than today. So I would shortly say, focus on what we can do today and focus on future. What is the future that we want to be in, and when and how? And also keep these 2 lights, 2 fires, 2 flames alive. Present, what we can do today, what is realistic to do today, and what we can do in the future. What we want to honor about the future.
That's really beautiful. And I'm also seeing in the chat, some of them, Linda Magnus said that she loves calling the elderly friends of her childhood, 92, 94 years old, and they've got lovely life stories to listen to. And then we've also got Francisco Reyes. I asked my mother to share her experience. She's 85. So, Cosmin, do you have someone that has got like a life story that you took an inspiration from as well?
Yeah, there's a life story that I connected recently, and I started to share to you about it. So a story which is about a very common person. This is what I love about this time, that you can connect to stories of common people. So it was happening, of course, before '89, when freedom of speech was unspeakable. Now it would not be imaginable. And there are a lot of people detained for their opinions, political views, and so on. And a very, very young girl living across across the road of the prison, understood that something is going very wrong. And she started to communicate with the detainees. And how she did that? This is very important, how she did that. She taught the Morse code, and using the Morse code from her window, when she was lighting a candle for them, she managed to find out the names of the people who were imprisoned there, got contact with their families in the country, and was the person responsible for giving news to the detainees. So I thought to myself, 17 years old, during a very tough time, dictatorship, no means of communication, how powerful is this, and how powerful this person was to connect to these people, to be so creative, to stay true to the values that she was educated in or she believed in. And what I can say about us, we don't have this type of lockdown now. So we are all from all the world here asking questions and talking, so we can do so much. If someone in much more difficult times than these times could do a lot for someone, for a community of people that were in difficult times, imagine how many things we can do right now.
Oh, this is a perfect time for us to reflect on ourselves. Like stories like these are really inspirational, where despite their own difficulties that they're going through, they believe so much in freedom that they're willing to do their little piece to just enlighten and light up other people's lives. So I guess the question to everyone is, how does this story inspire you to empower others? If you could type into the chat. I myself, when Cosmin shared this story with me, I literally teared, because for a girl to be so alone in a prison, and yet she still thinks about lighting a candle for others. It wasn't just for herself. It was sharing a message to the world. And when people see that flame of light, it symbolized hope, it symbolized freedom, it symbolized an inspiration and support. So all of us here, as coaches, that's probably something that really beats in our heart, how we can inspire others and help them to shift. So we would also like to hear from all of you how you have how the story is impacting you, and what are some of the inspirations that you are willing to share too. Yeah, that's really beautiful, Cosmin. Yeah. And so you were going through this whole political thing, finding your comfort with the family, standing up for the community. So, and then later on, you actually became a legal professional, and then so
Right.
what happened from that point onwards? Like,
Well, I choose the legal profession because it was something that inspired me since I was a child. And meanwhile, I still was very active in the civic life, and I got connected to people who were delivering training and coaching and so on, and I somehow started to discover this area. And then how is this happening from a west side of the country in a town called Arad? One day I noticed that something really happened in the time. I had the office on a big boulevard here in the city. So in the middle of the boulevard was my home. At the end of the boulevard was my office. At the other end of the boulevard was where my parents living. And one day, walking on the street, I noticed some scratches in the pavement. And I'm telling to myself, I say, okay, I know these scratches since I was 2 years old. And then something clicked into me and say, oh my God, I'm 30 years old and I'm living on the same street in the last 30 years. All my activity, my lawyer office, my everything is on the same street. So this was a moment when I asked myself, well, in what kind of prison do I live? Staying in the comfort zone on my street, having everything very close to me, I say, well, maybe it would be a great time to explore the world and to get out from this street. So literally, I realized then that by staying in a comfort zone, it's somehow staying in a prison that you put yourself into it. It looks comfy, yet it's not comfy. So what I decided then, I would say, what do I like to do? I like to be in facilitating building teams. I like to do it more than being a lawyer. Okay, so I would like to do that. So I literally in 1 week, I said, okay, I will quit my lawyer job and start to do what I love, being with people. And I moved to another city, started another chapter of my life in that time. So what I think what was important for me here to understand is that sometimes doesn't require an external condition or a government to put you in a so-called lockdown. You yourself be in a lockdown by choosing to be in a comfort zone or by choosing to stay where it's comfortable. So yeah, for me it was the signs. There was the signs in the pavement that made me realize that I'm staying in my comfort zone. And I would maybe encourage all of you to stop for a little bit and think, where is your comfort zone now? And what do you want to change in your practice as a coach? What you can do better, more? Where is this shift that is important for you? So yeah, this is how I decided to quit the law job, just by seeing these scratches in the pavement and having this idea that I'm staying in a lockdown by myself.
Cosmin, do you have a picture of that pavement you could share with us? It's amazing that something that you see every day can create a pivotal change. It's a little bit like what Erin was sharing at the mindfulness session just now when she talked about mindful walking, where as you put your feet down, you're kind of like noticing everything. It's almost like a mindful moment you had on that pavement.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I took this photo about 5 or 6 years ago, remembering this story, and I had a post on, and it's also a funny thing also to say here, I had a post on my Facebook page talking about these scratches in pavement. And then next day, the mayor's office covered them, so they're not existing anymore. But yeah, these are the sketches that that triggered me this. I'm quite emotional to see them now. Yeah.
Wow. So you were very powerful. You posted a picture and it fixed it straight away.
Yeah.
But tell me, how long were you living on this street before you actually noticed the cracks in the pavement?
Since I was 2 until 30 years old. So quite a lot.
Wow, 30 years on that same street. And to pluck up and move from that street after 30 years, that calls for a lot of courage. Well, so what shifted you to make such a bold move?
I didn't realize then that it's a bold move. I simply wanted to move forward. So as I told you at the beginning, I believe that freedom, if in its all forms, it's a natural part of us. So when I realized that, if I stopped, because I was walking, I was looking down at the pavement, I had a click. I said, okay, I'm in my prison. How do I get out of here? So I think what is very helpful for all of us, guys, just do it. Try something new, try something different. What is important for our profession as coaches now, that we can try different approaches with our clients. If we want to grow our business, you can try everything. It's allowed to make mistakes in these times. Nobody was living a full pandemic till now. Okay, we are all learning and we are all adapting. So what I can share you also from my profession, what I did in my business recently, I realized how important it is to be at service for our clients. And I'm starting to offering free coaching sessions. I'm working with my clients a lot. Everyone is going through difficult times. Be of service and be present for, for them. So guys, try everything. Get out from comfort zone. Go out there, speak with the clients, talk to them, be courageous. Anything you do, it's okay. Nobody has been through this situation till now, ever, ever.
And now it's really the time, right, for change, because like I think for you, like seeing that pavement, but now we are all forced to change because of COVID. But I guess what would be very interesting is for all of us to see what are the signs that are telling us about our lives and what changes we need at this moment.
Maybe it would be useful just to take some seconds or a minute for all of us and to think what signs inform us for change. I think we have also an Mentimeter question about it.
Maybe we can invite everyone to share about what are some
Yeah.
signs in your lives
Exactly.
that inspire you to change or trigger you or becomes a pivotal moment in your life. I think when you share that, we're actually doing the collective wisdom and sharing with the team so that we can also see where each one of our journeys are. And while you're doing that, maybe I'll invite John. John, would you help to read out some of the beautiful inspirational stories that people are typing into the chat? John, would you unmute yourself to share?
Yes, do you hear me
Awesome.
now?
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And there's a lot of comments to this question, and I think some of the other questions you ask, but supporting others gives you purpose when it feels like all is lost. I love this one. This was one of them. Holding the vision, that is so important, from Jane Weber.
I'm going to jump in together with you. Deep listening and going to the edge, from Anna. And from Han Sam Lai, I wonder if we can challenge ourselves and our clients to set a goal to move us from comfort zone to a purpose-driven life. What a valuable shift.
Yeah, and from Francisco, just in this moment, every journey is an experience. So true.
And Diana Petrov, a great reminder to follow the inner impulse to be there for others in genuine ways. That's really beautiful, Diana. And from Olga, moral of the story, supporting others give you purpose when it feels like all is lost. Wow. I think that's very powerful for us during these COVID times, how we think about others and yet that fulfills us. And I think often coaches, we sometimes forget about ourselves and reach out to others, but they are also at the same time, by doing so, it energizes us. It's a very beautiful give and take. Glenn Pierce, service to others. Oh, Doreen says, honestly, I'm not sure to what extent will I trade my freedom for the freedom of others. That's really very, very honest feedback. And I think this day and time, I think one of the values that came through was honesty, and I really applaud you for being very open about that. And Amin, humble and authentic, and Linda, having purpose like that young girl can make you feel fearless and focused to a greater good. John, any others that I may have missed that you have picked up?
No, you picked on a lot of them. I just saw one now, which catch me here. Did I notice the trees, flowers, and birds today? It just reminded me because I did a run in Botanical Garden, and I had exactly the same experience because it's all so clear and loud these days, and I never noticed when I did my runs, and it's so true. Listening and being present.
So Cosmin, so how about your family? How did they affect your decisions as well? Because in such pivotal moments, you probably pluck up your entire life and moved. Were there other considerations, like what when one of them was sharing, like I find it a bit hard to sacrifice my own freedom for others. Do you like to share some views on that?
Yeah, I cherish this answer because it shows us how important freedom is. And if you ask about family, it's about deciding what role do we want to have. When I say I totally cherish my freedom, it's the most important thing. The question for me is how this will serve the world. How I'm ready from this place of totally loving freedom to serve family, community, and so on. Because I would say we as human beings have these natural values that we want to express them. That's why I told you at the beginning, if you ask me from which country I'm from the country of freedom lovers. It's a common point that we have no matter what place we were born in or what language do we speak. So what I'm thinking these times also it's what is one role that I want to honor every day in my profession or in my relation with the family. And second, what I'm thinking about often I think, well, if 5 years from now or 4 years from now, I'm going to write a book about, or a letter about what I did in these times. What's going to be the title of that book? How this letter is going to start? Which will be the first word that I want to put there down? Or if I'm sharing a story to my nephews, what's the story I want to tell? Who I was during coronavirus time? Because be sure, guys, we are going to get out of it. Sooner or later, we're going to get out. I'm so sure. I sense this. This period, this time it's bringing us a lot of valuable lessons about ourselves, about community, about organizations, about government, and so on and so on. So yeah, I would encourage you to think, all of you to think, if you're going to write a book 5 years from now or 3 years from now, what is the title of that book? And let's get some sharing.
So while
I
everyone's
have read it
typing
and we
it,
overcame together. Beautiful. The joy of the ride.
I have lifted and we
Yeah.
overcame together. In fact, a lot of people have been posting like on Facebook, putting in kind of like a time capsule or capture of this moment in COVID, all these historical facts. And it's always often
Yeah.
like when we get through the whole crisis and we look back, it's like, oh wow, we actually overcame. This is really beautiful. And I'm also reading from the chat a lot of updates on freedom is linked to us as humans. Afni says getting clear on the impact we want to create, inner voice, emotion. So in fact, a lot of things are coming through. Observe and act, inner voice, emotions.
Yeah, nothing is permanent.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Have
And
you
this,
made a difference? Wow, that's so powerful.
a life well spent helping others. How I find myself. Wow, that's very deep. Alive and awake. Awesome. The big leap. The art of being. I love that because actually this COVID times has forced us to be. We're so used to doing that we forget to breathe and just be. There's this very
Yeah.
famous phrase I like to use, which is like we do something, and then we'll have the money or we'll have the house or have the job, and then we become somebody. But actually this is a beautiful time to reverse all that and just be. When we be, and then we will have, and then we can do. So that's beautiful. What else? My legacy, resilience and love in trying times make the jump. Turbulence as my teacher, the new me, lessons and opportunities, uplift your life. Beautiful, beautiful. So while this is going on, there's a question from Jerome. Cosmin, how do you maintain your sustained positivity so that it rubs off your clients during coaching?
During coaching, you said?
Or maybe we just broaden that up. Besides coaching, how do you?
Okay. So during a coaching session, I'm totally entering in what we were all prepared as coaches. We serve. The coaching space, it's about serving and being with the other. And also sometimes taking charge and, taking initiative and, hey, client, where do you want to be in 5 years from now? What's the title of your book? Okay, so sometimes as coaches, I think it's important to keep this balance between staying with our client, and also sometimes taking charge. So during coaching sessions, I totally love about this space that you can be of service. And I'm connected to this, yes, definitely. When I'm looking at myself in the perspective of entrepreneur, person that manages a business, I would say I'm always remembering that I have my team. I'm not alone in this. When I was very young, I thought being a hero is the way. What I learned in times is that we need to lead collectively in these times. It's so ambiguous, it's so challenging, it's so complex, and so fast, you cannot do it on your own. So from a coach perspective, I would say I'm with my clients where they are, and I'm serving. And also in the same time taking charge. Let's say, and keeping the focus on the positive and on the future. As an entrepreneur and as a team player, we cannot do it alone, guys. Which is the country or the community that is supporting you? When I say country of values. We all 100 of us, we are in a country of values right now. We are all in the same context of pandemic, and we are all passionate about coaching. So how this community is supporting you and what you are doing, guys, with ICF right now, in this offering these opportunities, exactly that. You're helping us as coaches to stay connected and to share with each other. So yeah, this is our two ways that I'm doing in these times. And once again, I would say I make a lot of mistakes, and I allow myself to make mistakes, because making mistakes is informing me that I'm acting. I'm not waiting for things to happen. I'm acting, I try different things. And it's a great way of learning. So no matter what, you are an employed coach or you have this as a business, go there and offer it to the clients. If I told very recently in a webinar, it's time to walk the talk now. If not now, when we are going to walk the talk? Being at service now in the world goes through these challenging times, it's something beautiful that we can do as coaches. Good.
Oh, wonderful. I'm just continuing to read the response from the guys on the books.
Titles here.
Amazing. It's, wow, this looks like a lot of #1 bestsellers list.
Yeah.
Fall hard, rise strong. I love that. Ending setbacks, starting comebacks. Beautiful. We've got we've got really brilliant writers here. Paradoxical truths. Ready, set, reset. Crisis turn opportunities. How I enjoyed life. Wow, that's a very positive perspective. Like my 3 + 3 = 6. Live life happily. You have only one life. How I found my best self. Wow. Hope springs from adversity. The journey of being with my inner self. I became, therefore I am. Currently writing, Afni's already currently writing a book, Power of Perception. Beautiful. Fulfillment, new journey. Wow. These are all very inspirational.
Looking forward to read all these beautiful books in time from now, in 2 or 3 years. Looking forward, guys, I encourage you to write. Write now. Write about these times. Use 10, 15 minutes each evening to write. What did you notice? What did you observe? What was the lesson of the day? It will be so important 1 year or 2 years from now to look back at these times and say, hey, what did I discover these times about me, about my business, about my coaching, about relations around me? So I encourage you to write each evening. Take 5, 10 minutes. What do you observe in the world? So a recent observation I made is that we speak differently now. communication is much more powerful and clear with my parents, with my loved ones, we talk to each other differently. It's a very important thing that I would like to keep it even after we pass about coronavirus. So I encourage you to write and looking forward to this, to see one day all these titles transformed into beautiful books and experiences.
Wow, beautiful. I encourage all of those who are also typing your titles of your books into the chat to put it onto Menti. And actually, who knows, 5 years later, we're going to have all these books published and we're going to say, hey, Cosmin, you inspired us to create something different in our lives.
You are an inspiration for yourselves, always. Remember this. It's so great that you created this opportunity that we can connect from this part of the world, from this part of Europe. So I really hope these stories that I had the opportunity to share to you raised the interest point of view, or maybe gave you a different perspective on where you can, on how you can look on at your life. Did I miss any question?
There's a comment from Naila Abdul Karim. Traveling has helped break the bubble I unintentionally or intentionally have created. Having heard some incredible stories while being on the road make you reevaluate what's important in your life and appreciate what you have. It breaks the bubble and liberates you. I think it's a comment. And then Suman says it's a shift to consciousness. I love that. Because we are, as coaches, agents of change of consciousness. And I think you probably hear that topic later on in the week. Beautiful. And Shihua says you can have the same values, freedoms, and it can look and manifest in very different ways.
Yeah. I have a challenging question from Doreen, and I will shortly answer to it, and also use this opportunity to share with you a small secret. So, Cosmin, what is the most courageous thing you have done? Yeah, I remember when I was a very young political activist, believing in freedom and so on. What I chose to do, unconscious of the danger at that time, I crossed illegally a border to bring some books to a Romanian community living in Transnistria, which is a part of Republic Moldova. I was not conscious about this situation then, yet I did it because I wanted to be at help. Let's say it was not a very well guarded border and it was not very politically clear, even if it's a border. But I would say, yeah, that maybe might be one of the courageous things that I've done. So I wanted to help a family get some books. So remember, it was 1994, 5, 6, something like that. So it was no Facebook, no social media at that times. So yeah, Doreen, that is the courageous thing I've done, and it's a small secret I'm sharing with you guys right now.
And also a comment from Jane. Cosmin is talking about being bold and courageous. I wonder how much we take ourselves for granted and that we're also being positive role models in current times, but we don't even notice ourselves. I think that's to the point that Cosmin was saying, it's not just Cosmin that's inspiring. Each one of us can be inspiring, but we don't even notice it ourselves.
Exactly. And look at these titles here. Just look at these titles, how inspiring and beautiful all of them are. I would be so curious to know everything about each idea that is written here.
Oh, beautiful. So then how do we get started? Any tips on getting started? Because this is like 5 years time, and how do we move ourselves forward?
Well, I would say just move, just go with it. And first, one thing that you can do, maybe this evening, is take a time to write. How this day inspired you? You had a long day at ICF in Singapore. How this day inspired you? What was the most important lesson? And very, very, very important, what are you ready? What is the step that you're ready to do, to go with right now? Right now. So I would encourage you, use this evening to write down about how was this day? What inspired you? What do you notice about yourself? What do you notice around you. So yeah, you can also do it right now. What is the first step you want to take to honor your most important value? Beautiful question.
Oh, I saw a really nice comment, Jane Weber. Just listening to Cosmin, I feel already more daring. And what else? Linda, take a phased approach so you don't get overwhelmed and fall by the wayside. That's really good advice, Linda. Definitely. Cosmin, love your energy. Session has been deep and inspiring to remember we all have strength and positivity within us to create any difference we want to. To create the difference, I would probably add create the difference and also create the common perspective that we can walk on this road together as a community.
Thank you.
And then Lynn says maybe that could be a topic for discussion in the action learning breakout room. Yeah, beautiful. Yes.
Aim bigger, beautiful. Yes, go for it. Aim bigger. Be of service to freedom. Beautiful, beautiful. Wow.
Oh, small, simple steps. Start writing for 15 minutes every day. It's kind of like, because we were saying, hard to move mountains, but you can do it one step at a time. That's a beautiful one. Stop procrastinating, shine the torch, and be wildly curious about how much more I could be living it. This is really taking a walk on the wild side.
Big acknowledgement for I already did it. I quit my job free to fulfill my calling. Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow.
Trying something different in your life, cooking when you don't cook. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Share and communicate above need to know basis. Yeah, this really addresses that whole point about connections, right? So Cosmin, you were actually sharing that when you guys were in a restricted area, communication took on a very different role. So what do you think that communication can help us in us helping to honor our value?
So if I can relate to something similar, what is right now and what was then before 89, so what I read and noticed also in my family before 89, is that when external conditions are tough, the tendency to get closer to your community, family, community of values is much more higher. So it's an important thing to remember, for example, if you coach people in organizations or you coach leaders or managers or entrepreneurs, it's to create a community which you can stay in touch with. So what we succeeded to do here is have a virtual coffee calls with different leaders or different members of the organization. So and you as a coach, you can inspire people to create, you can initiate this. Ask them for an invitation, ask different people from different organizations to stay in touch. So what is important in this time when physical distancing is required is to remember that we can use, it's not a social distancing, it's a physical distancing. So we can use the technology to socialize, to be together. So what I would encourage you all, build communities around yourself. People that you can stay in touch with, be at service to organizations and to society in general by creating small communities of people that they can talk to each other during these times. People are at home. Some of them maybe are home alone with no one else. So it's very important to create these communities of people that they can talk. And you as a coach, you can initiate this.
That's really beautiful. Just reading out some of the comments from Kevin Cotton. This has been a beautiful sharing. I had an aha moment, and that is being of service to freedom is vital. And Xiu Yun says, a beautiful question to remind us of the wonders of every day and to remind us to also be of service to others. What inspired us? What will we inspire in others? And Anna says, create a community, and it's a good reminder to reach out to those who we have not talked to or who may not have anyone to talk to. It is true. During this lockdown, it's more important for us to connect. And a lot of times, I think being coaches, it's kind of like, instead of like giving instructions to people on what needs to be done during this time, it's really having a listening ear and understanding where everyone is coming from, because everyone has different challenges, whether they're living alone or the whole family is working from home and suddenly you have to deal with different things happening in your life. This is such a beautiful time to connect with one another, and that could be the start of us being an inspiration to others and just being there for them. It's beautiful.
Right.
We're coming close to the time. We'd like to open up. If you haven't already typed your questions for Cosmin, please do so. Oh, Farah has a very poetic comment. The mass of men live in quiet desperation. I'm not sure what to make of that. Cosmin, do you have any comments on that?
The mass of men living quiet.
I don't know.
I'm thinking how this is impacting me and what would be challenging or desperate for me this time. So I would say trying to like maybe yeah. So I'm sensing that it's going to be a better future, and we are going to go through this. I'm sure of it. And guys, please be sure that we are going to get out of these times sooner or later. Maybe a point of attention. If I would like to change the idea of desperation, I would make a focus on saying it's a point of attention. For me, it's how governments are responding to this crisis right now. So this would be a point of attention for me in these times. Yeah, perspective is everything, right?
Wow, so many.
Maybe if I can joke about it, a lot of times I'm checking how my hair is growing and growing and growing and growing and growing this time. So yeah, I'm starting to get a bit panicked about this. So yeah, right.
Wow.
Massive.
Wow. So, wow, typically, I think usually when the session ends, you make a conclusion. But at this point, I really don't feel like making any conclusions because there's so much beautiful gems that Cosmin has shared, so many beautiful observations, contributions from everyone on the call. I wouldn't do justice by trying to summarize everything, but this has been such a beautiful and touching session. So, so totally inspirational. I mean, while many of us might feel that, oh, like Eastern Europe and Romania is like so far away, and there are also like other stories from people who have gone through different things like war, concentration camps, and all that. But I think what we can really learn from Cosmin's experience and all your sharing is that I'm going to be very clear about what our values are, and having the mindfulness and awareness about things that are happening in our lives right now, because so many changes are happening, and really looking out for all those signs and signals like the pavement on the path, things that are telling me that it's time for us to make a change in our lives, what's going to pivot, and building the community around us, not just for sharing, but also to inspire. And also they could be an inspiration for us too, because none of this would have been possible for our own journey if we didn't have people around us. And remember all the people that we shared, from family to colleagues to inspirational stories, and our idols, figureheads, or just ourselves can be an inspiration. So this is really beautiful. I'm just gonna see if there's any other comments from John from the chat.
Yeah, I totally like this comment from Diana Petrov. Freedom is a natural part of us. How do we honor our freedom as coaches? To me, it's honoring the calling to be at service. Beautiful. Exactly. This is how we honor freedom this time. You have the freedom to be of service. Use it. It's great. It's amazing. Amazing. You have a beautiful mission, and to be witness, to work as witnesses as to someone's transformation. It's really a beautiful mission. So when then now to use this.
So I know, Cosmin, you shared a lot of gems with us. So I'm just going to ask you one more. What would be the last parting advice that you have for everyone?
I would simply say that I saw here in all the questions and answers a lot of values and a community of values, I would say. So I would encourage each one of you to go act on it. So moving one person's heart one day will move a mountain. So if I learned something about being active in political and civic life and moving to coaching is this: it's very important if you manage to touch someone else's heart with the small thing. This, I assure you, this will move mountains one day. So just go and do it. This is the message for all of you. Go and do it and be at service. And thank you for accepting me. And it was a really a great privilege to talk to you. Thank you for.
And likewise,
for
Cosmin, thank you for your genuine and heartfelt sharing. I'm sure all of us have been really, totally into your story and being inspired by you and everyone on the team. So thank you everyone for joining us. I'll hand you back to John for more exciting discussions.
Thank you, Cosmin. Thank you, Anne. I have to say, a personal reflection, this has been very touching. It has been extremely authentic, which works very well with me as a coach. And it is just wonderful to see all the comments. And I'm proud being a coach with so many people around me with this kind of mindset, how we can help others. So I just want to thank you for that. And it has been a true inspiration. And as Anne said, it is very hard to summarize. But thank you for being who you are. And I just take one big thing away, what you said, freedom to speech. And I just want all of us to take that away, because we all have so much to bring to the world and we should not limit ourselves. Everything is possible. It really starts in our head. So let's speak up and do the right things and just be ourselves and what we believe in. So that's just what I take away. Thank you so much, Cosmin and Anne. Amazing job. Thank you. So I want to take this opportunity before I load the slide again. Can we take a group picture? We do group pictures of all of our sessions, and I need you to do three things: either an I, a C, or W on the screen with your fingers, and somebody in the background will help us to take some amazing pictures. So for 5 seconds, an I, a C, or W. Here we go, in front of the camera.
Just keep holding that pose, please. Not done yet, just hold on, we're getting there. Perfect, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Adrian. So let me bring the slide deck back. So I want to take this opportunity, so please hang in with us because we have a few important informations. And also there's a short breakout session to reflect on what we learned from Cosmin later, just for 15 minutes. So first of all, I want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors again, starting with Emergenetics. And please don't forget your free gift package. Next week, you will receive an email to get your profile report, access to amazing resources, and a special webinar. So watch out for that email next week. And also a big thank you to the Coach Partnership, Starting Point, and the coaching app. Amazing technology, which is all focused on what we do every day and making sure that what we do is keeping a certain standard and helping others to be successful. So with that, I really want to tee up what we are doing. So first of all, you will get CCEUs for this session. So if you have a mobile phone with a camera ready, you can scan the QR code, or in the chat sessions, you will see links in a moment where you can click on the link where you can fill out your name and your correct email address for your certificate and answer a few simple questions about this session. And this will help us tremendously to keep the high quality that we do throughout this week. So please take a moment, and you have 24 hours after this session to complete it for this session, and then you can get your CCEUs. Also, please share your learnings and insights on social media. We are active on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and Twitter. Please always hashtag us or use SG ICF 2020 when you do that. Last but not least, we have a lot of exciting sessions coming up tomorrow. We start tomorrow morning with a panel discussion, how to create a corporate coaching culture, followed by the way of a mindful warrior, mindfulness in coaching. And we end the day tomorrow with the subconscious connection, listening with empathy mind. Very exciting speakers. If you have not signed up and you do not have the Zoom link, you find in the chat links where you can sign up to make sure you can participate tomorrow. And we also have mindfulness sessions tomorrow, which I find really, really helpful. So with that, we are now going into breakout sessions. So we basically will split up everybody into smaller groups of 3 or 4, where you can reflect a little bit on what we heard from Cosmin and Anne. And you will simply just stay in there for 50 minutes. The breakout room will automatically end. And we just thank you for your time and being so patient this time of the day and following us and being as excited as I am with the content. I wish all of you a wonderful evening. And Adrian, we can put people into breakout rooms.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I will now send you off to your breakout rooms.
Hey, Adrian, I was in a breakout room with just one person, myself.
All right, sending you to another room.
Sure. It's a little bit lonely there.
I think I moved you to...
I think Linda is saying that her breakout room is only her and John, so maybe I can go in and join them, keep them company. Perfect. Linda, me, and John.
There was no one in my breakout, you guys, so I
Oh,
came
okay.
back.
Sabrina, yay, join us. Wonderful.
I was hanging out by myself and having a conversation like I do for the past month, all by myself. And
I know, it's a bit too familiar.
Don't
and
say
you know what? I
that.
was like, okay, you know.
Yeah, let's put all the loners together.
Let me
So-
see. Who's not?
Yes, Linda, Sabrina, who else is joining?
Yeah, no one was in my breakout room too.
Okay, so Hazel, me, Linda can all go together. Sabrina. We can just treat this as a breakout room as well. That's another way.
We could do a breakout in here. I mean, mine was
Exactly. Yeah,
breakout
yeah,
20,
yeah.
breakout
Absolutely.
room number 20.
Indeed. Let's keep this. If that's technically difficult to send us somewhere, we'll carry on here.
No.
So what are we supposed to be discussing?
Have I moved you yet? Did you receive a notification?
No, we didn't.
I did, but I was
You
in
did?
there by myself, which is the
Okay, so
normal.
Avni
So I
and,
thought
and
I'd come
Sabrina,
and
you're in
join.
room 16. You may like to accept it.
Linda wants to join. Hazel wants to join there too.
Okay, I can send Hazel there.
Eileen, you want to join?
I moved
Eileen's
Hazel
also
in.
nodding. Okay.
Okay, Eileen. Where is Eileen? Oh,
Here, I was alone as well.
Okay.
Hey guys, is this the breakout? Is it optional?
yes, it is.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
is
Yes, it is.
option, right?
Yeah.
All right, I might say adio because I've got work to do.
Okay.
Well, nice to see you, Sabrina.